Greetings and hello, friends and neighbors. I'm Pat626. I host Subculture Shock Sunday nights at 10 p.m. right here on Twitch. And I get to play a lot of the best new goth, industrial, darkwave, deathrock, EBM, synthpop, and postpunk. And then on Thursdays with Subculture Shock, I get to interview the people that make it happen. Normally, I'm talking to artists, but tonight there's a special unsung hero in the music biz that I want to talk with. I've got William Zimmerman of Moon Coil Media in the virtual studio. How's it going, William?
Oh, pretty good. I'm not so sure about the hero thing.
Oh, we're
but
gonna
thank you anyway.
No. I knew you were gonna say that, and I'm gonna stop you right there, because you are as important to the goth industrial scene as I am, and people like to tell me that I'm important because I get new music into people's heads, where you get that new music into my hands, and that is a big deal. So we're going to talk all about the media PR process tonight, but I always like to start off on the show with what I call the supervillain origin story. So how did you get into dark music in general, goth, industrial? Like, what made you start listening to it, and then ultimately what made you start promoting it?
So as far as the start with listening to it, it's kind of a funny story. I was about 17 or 18 years old, and I mean, I had always listened to stuff like, new wave, growing up, like Flock of Seagulls and things like that. But I was about 17, 18 years old, and somebody comes up to me at school. And I lived in Southern Illinois, and the show was in St. Louis, and they say, "Hey, do you want to come to a local show? There's this band, Voice of God, playing over there." And it just sounded intriguing, so I'm like, yeah, why not? So I walk in the club, and I'm like, all right, where's the drummer? And they said it was like this hardcore industrial band. Well, I walk in, the whole stage is set up kind of like a pulpit, and I was like, no drummer, okay. Well, that was it. I mean, they were very theatrical, very, that was back in like the kind of early Ministry days. And the funny thing about them is, nowadays when sometimes bands perform, their backing is like on a laptop or whatever. Well, the Voice of God's backing tracks were on a reel-to-reel tape.
What?
If you can imagine that. Yeah, on a reel-to-reel tape, which was kind of funny, but you wouldn't think that this would happen like on a local level, but I went out of there, and that was the start of everything. That was it. But as far as listening, I don't know. I guess it kind of stemmed from that, and then went on. Like I said, I listened to things like new wave or whatever, and I'm not sure. I just started paying attention to different bands and stuff, and a lot of it started in like the early 90s. Some of the bands that were coming out of Germany, like I'm trying to think, it was like Plastic Noise Experience or something like that, I think they're called. Bands like that. I think that's where it started. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does. So, all right, you're listening to the music, you dig it, it's fun. How do you go from that to deciding, hey, I want to run PR for these bands?
By accident, actually. I was, I'd started a blog, which I still have. It's noisebeneaththesnow.com. And, I had always liked writing. So when I was doing that blog, I met a couple publicists at a company called Tag Publicity. And, I was like, well, this kind of sounds like pretty cool work. I mean, I'm not doing anything with my college degree, so let's check this out. you know and so one campaign led to another, and I decided, well, I kind of want to run my own operation and center around like gothic, industrial, EBM, post-punk, those kinds of things. And here we are, like, what, 3 or 4 years later. So they taught me a lot of the ropes and a lot of the way I do press releases and things like that. So that's kind of how it started.
You've really only been doing this for like 4 years?
Yeah. I mean, exclusively, like almost exclusively, like with the darker music things. I mean, there's been other exceptions like metal bands or whatever, but yeah, I mean, I was at a job. I worked in healthcare actually for like 12 years, and then I started doing this part-time. Well, when I switched jobs in, I think it was early 2000, it was February 9th, 2021. I left a very unethical, probably illegal job function.
Oh.
Because this company started, and it wasn't the healthcare thing, it was like a social media type of deal. And that company I walked away from because they basically wanted me to commit interstate fraud. And I was like,
just a little fraud. What's a little fraud between friends?
Yeah, no, I just wouldn't do it. And I walked out into a completely, almost blank canvas. I'm like, what am I going to do? You
and your morals.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of a believer in karma, and like, you got to treat people the way they want to be treated. The way you want to be treated.
I am gently ribbing you. I totally support your decision.
No, I know. But one thing led to another, and I've been doing this full time since then. And obviously it happened for a reason, because we're still doing it, and it's very humbling to be doing it in a niche of a type of music that I love as a fan.
It's just amazing to me that I didn't realize that it had only been that long, because like you've been doing PR for less time than I've been out of retirement as a DJ, and and yet when you Google like goth PR and industrial PR and things like that, Moon Coil Media is the first thing that comes up. And I know that's also a pretty impressive resume, considering that you've only been you recently went through a transition,
right?
And just recently adopted the Moon Coil name. So the fact that you can be such a trusted name in promotions is a pretty freaking big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take it lightly. I mean, we've always been kind of mindful of SEO. And when I did the transition, there was a little bit of time where the old name was still popping up. And my webmaster, who has a PhD in digital design, and, she's experienced with SEO and stuff, I just kind of let her handle it, because I'm not that great with WordPress, and also she's one of my clients, so it's kind of a no-brainer. But yeah, like a week later, after we officially launched, it was up there, and I'm like, wow. That's kind of cool, kind of humbling.
So I feel like this is kind of along with the origin story. So what made you decide to rebrand your promotions field as Moon Coil Media?
A couple different reasons. I guess the primary reason was that entity was like strictly PR. The reason that I changed the name, in spite of nearly everybody telling me not to, because they're like, you're gonna lose DJs, you're gonna lose media outlets, you're gonna lose all of that. But I stuck to it, and I was like, no, the name's got to go. And the reason the name had to go was it was named after a song that was done by an artist that I no longer speak to.
Oh.
Unfortunately, and I'll just leave it at that. But
Okay.
I couldn't have that hanging over. And and the other thing was that, like I said, it was strictly PR, and I wanted to sort of expand into other arenas, like maybe artist management and things of that nature.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to get away from the web hosting, so I was like, we just need a fresh start. So literally the transition probably happened over, I want to say, a good 6 months, sending emails to DJs, sending emails to media outlets, sharing notifications on social media, just to avoid like the collateral damage, and say this is what's going to happen. And I sent it through my MailChimp email list, and it's been fine so far.
So why Moon Coil? Obviously names are very important to you, because you talked about how you could no longer use the name it had before because of the ties to it now. So why Moon Coil then?
I wanted to think of something. I mean, first of all, it was extraordinarily hard for me to think of a name that I was happy with, and then one that wasn't already taken or trademarked or anything. And
half my name is from a Disney character, I understand.
Yeah, and that was part of it, but I wanted something that was kind of at the core of my being and work ethic. And the moon part actually stems from when my son, who's now 16 years old, when he was just first starting to talk, we would like go out on the front porch, and he would stick his arm, like we would go look at the moon, he would stick his arm up and be like, I can't reach it. So there's this whole kind of reference to like reaching for things that can't be reached, drawing down the moon, those kinds of things. And then the coil thing was actually kind of interesting. My grandfather, who owned a business up in New Jersey many years ago when he was alive, his name was Carl, and I wanted to find a way to incorporate his name because apparently my work ethic is a lot like his. So that's where the C comes from. The oil part comes from his business. He had a business that sold like a form of oil to heat homes up in New Jersey in the Northeast or whatever. And then media was just like, it was a way to kind of do the artist management and PR under the same blanket. So
right.
That's pretty much it for the name.
It's so personal though, and I love that. Like it's got you've got the future and the past of your family in your father or your grandfather and your son, and then you've also got like that reaching for the unreachable. That's a lot going in there, and honestly, like, I don't know, that knowing that if I were still making music, that would definitely like go, yeah, no, that's a brand I can get behind.
Yeah, I wanted something that was gonna stick, so I didn't have to change the name again. And then I also wanted something that was like, really personal, like I was saying. So
yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, it took me so long to think of it, and I'm often accused of like overthinking things. So I was like, all right, I'm finally happy with this.
Well, you're on the right show then.
Hope so.
This is the overthinking hour. So and so speaking of overthinking, I want to get into some details here because the number one viewers of my stream are other musicians, musicians and DJs. Watch this, watch the videos, watch the streams, listen to Subculture Shock. And so I'm sure there are musicians out there that are like interested, but are also like trying to figure out the difference. What is the difference between joining a label, which people think of as promotions, versus like hiring you as their PR manager?
I mean, to answer that, you kind of have to go back a few years, because a lot of the publicists slash PR people were more in-house at labels. And, you know, it's just that like the landscape has changed. You know, the people handling publicity and social media and stuff, a lot of them now aren't in-house. And, you know, it's just the landscape has changed. So a lot of the connection now between publicists and labels or artists is it's very personal. It's not like a boss telling a publicist what to do. It's the label or artist reaching out, you know, one by one, which is a cool thing. And I mean, I've had labels and I've had bands both hire me, but you know, the labels are just kind of like, God, there's so many labels that have different functions, but it's basically like, you know, a brand, a name to do certain things for bands, you know, like manufacturing and doing a little bit of marketing for their music and stuff. But then publicists, I mean, some of us work kind of differently, but, you know, basically our job is to do more of reaching out to media outlets, and in my case, it's also reaching out to DJs to get the music out there. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about creating and maintaining relationships with individuals that, you know, such as yourself, that receive this music and, you know, want to help promote it. And it's like a real sense of community, where it seems like it used to be like more transactional, if that makes sense. But now it's like, it's more, I think, interpersonal.
You know, that's something that I've talked with Ken Magerman at Sounds and Shadows about before, about how it seems like the best way to promote your music, or in your case, your client's music, is to develop a relationship with the people you want to listen to it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You know, I mean, for me, I had to start off, I couldn't sell anything or market something if I wasn't a fan of it, of the style, because it just seemed kind of wrong. But
right.
I mean, that's why, you know, it's, I mean, it's very humbling to be able to do what I do. But that's why it's taken 3 or 4 years to develop and nurture these relationships. So, yeah, I mean, I'm proud, but, you know, it's humbling at the same time.
So I want to talk about those relationships, but I kind of want to get back into this topic first. You know, we talked a little bit about, so you get the music. Let's say that I have a band, all right? So my band, we'll call it MIDNYGHT DVGGERS. There we go. Goth sounding name. There probably 4 of those already, so this is going to be even harder. So, all right, MIDNYGHT DVGGERS comes to you with my fantastic washing machine noise pop here, and I want to I want to be a part of Moon Coil Media. What can you do for me? What do you do for me as an artist?
It depends on a couple of things. First of all, obviously, I'd have to listen to it, and if I think that it's something that can be, you know, well received by, you know, a lot of the outlets that I send to, then I'll take it on. Because I mean, if stylistically I don't think it's something that I can market or sell, I'm not gonna lie to somebody and just like take their money. And
come on, man, my washing machine isn't just the percussionist; it's also the bass player.
Yeah, I don't. It's you know, I'd have to be able to market it, and you know,
Makes
obviously
sense.
listen to it first and believe in it. So, yeah, there's been cases where I've had, you know, good relationships with other publicists, and I've told them, hey, I can't work on this. Can you do something for them? You're probably more skilled at this area than I am. and it works both ways. You know, they've sent me clients too. So.
Okay, so assuming that this is something that you can do something with, what happens then?
Once we agree on kind of a plan of action, which is usually based on like a single, an EP, a video, or a record, or like, you know, long-term sets of those.
Right.
You know, once we work out a timeline that's realistic and we make an agreement, a couple things happen. So I'll drop a press release that has all the main info, and then video and stuff like that. And then I'll do another part, which is sending the digital music from another program out to like DJs and media outlets and things like that. So it's kind of like two different prongs going to work there. And you know, I track everything so that like when people pay me, they can see what they paid for,
right?
With actual proof. And it goes through a process that's kind of natural. It's not like I click a button and, okay, you know, throw a musical frisbee out and hope it comes back.
Right. You've got the receipts.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, there are certain sites that I know I can count on every press release. And then there's sites that I can actually log into to do posts. And then the hours actually start to build up when I do one-on-one follow-ups with each of the media outlets that, like I have ones that I know will post, like I said, but then there's a lot of outlets that I'm also close to that I know are very, very likely to post. I'll start following up with them.
That reminds me that I need to send you a couple of my past playlists. Whoopsie!
But it's like, you know, we try to get it out that way, like just like awareness campaigns, and you know, a lot of that is shared on social media, and you know, obviously the DJs are a extremely important part of the equation too, and we can see that a lot of them are playing, and you know, that's the cool thing about the programs that I use is like you can actually see who opens press releases and downloads and how many streams and all that stuff. So, and all that stuff gets reported back to the clients.
And actually, I'm going to take a moment there to talk to the fellow DJs in there. This is why, as a DJ, even if a band has already sent me something, if a promoter sends it to me, I open it and download it again, just so the promoter knows that I'm interested in it. Because that's that, you know, two-way relationship that we're talking about. So that, you know, I get it from William, I download it even if I already have it, so he knows, okay, this is the type of stuff I should be sending to Pat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you said that, you know, you kind of have to resonate with your clients in order, and you have to feel like you can market it. So are there clients, like, what are some previous client experiences that you would say were really fulfilling for you? The building relationships that we talked about.
You mean like specific clients or like specific campaigns or both? Or...
Yeah, give me both. Yeah. It's your interview, man. Talk it up.
God, that's a really good question. I mean, you know, I've only really had like a couple of situations where, you know, a couple of clients weren't exactly thrilled, but I guess, you know, when you've dealt with over 120 of them, 2 unhappy people isn't too bad of a ratio.
That's fantastic. Actually, that is less than 2%.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all different, and you know, some of their stuff I might like more than others, but if I know that there's an audience for it, I'll send it out. I can't really think of any specific artist that the campaigns I've liked more than others necessarily. Unfortunately, there hasn't been too many horror stories either. So.
Oh, that's good. I mean, bummer that I don't get horror stories, but it's good that everything's going smoothly.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good. There has been challenges, no doubt, but if you don't have those, you don't learn. So
you'll be happy to know that you've actually started the Midnight Daggers band, thanks to Chat is now kind of running with it, and I think Horror Stories is going to be our first album. I'm going with it.
Well, as long as you get it in writing and I get a portion of the royalties.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. I'll at least give you a special thanks on the liner notes.
Yeah, now I'm curious if there's like any bands out there named that. Probably like maybe like black metal or something.
Oh, it's cool. I'll just do the usual trick of changing the A to a V. We're good.
Or put like an umlaut over something.
I got this. Yeah, no, we're good to go. I'm gonna put an umlaut over the N. Just 'cause every German viewer just had a seizure. So, all right. So, I'll name a couple clients then that you've had that I'm interested in, or like relationships that I know you have had that I'm intrigued in. I know that you have worked with Mortis, and you've worked with Christian Death.
Right.
So, like, what was that like? Like here you are, like you've just you said it yourself that you've only been doing this for a few years, and all of a sudden you get approached by Valor of Christian Death to not just promote their record, but also you even went on tour with them for a few days.
Yeah, actually, the case in that case, I approached them.
Okay.
And the reason I approached Christian Death was I started noticing that they were getting quite a bit of press, predominantly in like the metal community. I think mostly because they're on a label that is exceptional with metal, which is Season of Mist. Fantastic label, fantastic publicist there. But I started noticing a gap, like they weren't getting a lot of press in the gothic industrial community. And, I had been in contact with them a little bit every now and again, but I basically said, look, do you guys want a publicist devoted, exclusively to the band? And because I think I could do something. I think I could fill a gap. And God, I've been working with them almost as long as I've been doing the PR stuff. So, yeah, the Mortis thing was a little bit different. I don't remember actually how that started, but
just woke up one day and you're promoting Mortis.
Yeah, I mean, it's two different things, because with Mortis, there's other people involved. Like, basically, when he does an album and a US tour, then I'll handle like tour press and regular press for like the gothic industrial dungeon synth outlets. And that's always a unique experience, because you're getting on conference calls with like him in Norway, his manager in the UK, his metal publicist in Italy. But it's pretty good teamwork. I think that the cool thing is that you get to know these different sides of people. And I think in the case of Mortis and Christian Death, I can safely say that they know their value, they know their legacy, and they take a lot of pride in it, and rightfully so. They both had like long, great careers. I guess that's the cool part about it, getting to know different sides of them. You asked about like the Christian Death venture, the short tour or whatever. And that was, it was less than a week, but basically
the number of days that I have been on tour with Christian Death is 0. So even a couple of days is pretty awesome. Please continue.
Yeah, basically what I did was I handled their merch and, kind of helped carry stuff in, a little roadie work. Um, in the case of, I think it was New Jersey, I found myself cleaning up spills on the stage so Valor and Maitri wouldn't slip. Um, but, looking back on that week, I think it was kind of a really valuable experience because to be in that part of the world, because it really keeps you on your toes, and it really keeps you like you have to make decisions on a fly. Like, I didn't know anything about the merch, how the merch setups were going to be at the different venues. So it's like some of them ended up having display areas. Some of them I had to put everything on the tables. In the case of
some of them made you wear that weird little schoolgirl uniform.
Yeah, no, fortunately not. But, in the case of like Pittsburgh at the Hard Rock Cafe, I was literally on a table in a hallway, and I couldn't hang anything. I couldn't tape anything to the walls. So, and there was a ton of merch. So I had to put what I could on the table. But then if somebody wanted something that wasn't on the table, I was like playing Tetris and yanking the tubs of merch out from under the table anytime I needed to, which is fine. It was,
you're wearing like 4 different shirts and like, all right, this is what this one looks like. This is what this one looks like.
Oh, you mean on the merch table there was? Yeah, I don't remember how many, but there were several. But it was cool meeting some of the media people that I had been talking to. I think I met like 3 or 4 of the bands that are clients, which was kind of neat.
I guess that's kind of true. Is like, you probably don't actually do a lot of local music. Probably the vast majority of your clients are in a different state, if not a different country from you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've done anything. Well, I did have one or 2 clients over in St. Louis. There's a band called Giant Monsters on the Horizon.
Love them.
Yeah, no, Vinny's great. He's exceptionally talented, and as is his partner. But Illinois, I've had a few clients from Northern Illinois, Rockford and Chicago. But yeah, most of them are from different states, and in some cases different countries, predominantly like Eastern Europe, with a few exceptions.
That's just so wild. Yeah, I get that though, because like I started, when I started DJing, it was mostly as a local DJ, and I was on a local radio station. And then when I came back out of retirement in 2017 and started doing the podcast, I think I have like 2 regular Virginia listeners, and everybody else is from halfway across the country, if not the world. Does that ever strike you as weird that you're spending like that you are a global business? That this job that you're doing is just like transnational?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's like I'm in, one small corner of the world, and I mean, I know social media gets a bad rap sometimes, but there's some really good things about it, and it's really weird, like getting on a video call with a goth rock band in the UK, or a label in Germany or something.
You actually you set up the Neon Apocalypse interview with me, and I got to learn all about Sweden's Midnight Sun thanks to that. So,
oh wow,
that's all you.
Well, I mean, if at the end of the day it creates relationships for other people, I mean, that's really all it's about. Spreading the music around, and then if the outlet gets to know the artist, it's that much nicer.
So obviously, I can't ask you to like pick your favorite clients, because that's like trying to choose your favorite children.
Right.
And in which you totally have a favorite, but you're not going to say it in public. But are there any clients out there that, I don't know if this is something you can talk about or not, because I might spoil some things that are down the road, but are there any clients out there that you would love to work with at some point?
Oh, wow. I hadn't even thought about that. Gosh, I mean, I'd love to work with bands like Twin Tribes. She Passed Away.
Love them.
Yeah, both amazing. I can't think of. Oh, probably my all-time favorite industrial band, Supreme Court.
Okay.
Which is, I'm trying to think. They're on Infacted Records or something.
I think so.
Amazing band. So probably those are at the top of my head.
Okay. And I'm sure you can't talk too much about what's going to happen soon with Moon Coil, like what you've got down the pipe. There are probably certain things you can talk about and certain you can't. But what's going on with Moon Coil Media right now? Like, what are some artists that you're promoting right now? And are there any artists coming up that you can talk about?
I'll avoid the ones that are coming up because I haven't got approval to announce them yet.
Totally fair.
I have a few active ones right now. There's like a band from Seattle called Dual Analog, which is a really crazy like industrial rock band.
Yeah, just interviewed them a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Chip is great. And there's I'm trying to think. Leah Hyde, which is she's a Greek artist, classically trained, and teaches at conservatory, and she's kind of like dark pop. There's a really great act out of like around Baltimore called Naja Mora. That has, I don't think I've ever had a case like this where I'll be totally blunt. In the beginning I was like, okay, he's touching on some universal things here, and I don't know that like the DJs are going to grasp on it, but it definitely needs to get out there. And he's provoked a reaction like I've never seen.
Yeah.
He's got some of the best reviews, and I mean, I've kind of been blown away. And then there's a couple others that are just trying to think. Christian Carver's band, Carver.
Yep.
You probably know him from Mannequin and Panic Lift.
Yep.
I
have played all these on my show.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it, and I think those are the main ones right now, but I will say there are a couple things coming up which I'm very, very, very excited about. So
well, then I'm excited too, because you excited is probably good for me.
Yeah, so I can't wait to get the okay to announce those. So
nice. So let's talk long term then, because we're starting to get near the end of the interview, and so we talked about the past. Let's talk about the far off future. Are there any like long term goals that you have for Moon Coil Media, for yourself?
Yeah, I think the thing is, to basically do more tomorrow than I did yesterday, and just kind of progress, get to know the artists better, we're constantly looking for new ways to get it out there. One of the changes that has happened when I switched the name over is, before I was like doing it all myself. Now we actually have a business advisor. And he and I have been talking like multiple times a week on new things. We have a legal rep, And, I think the next thing that we're going to probably work on is maybe venturing into the world of artist management. I think those are the main things right now. So, and I mean, even artist management has changed so much since, like PR has changed and things
In
like
what
that.
way?
So, what's that?
In what way has artist management changed?
I think now it's more looking at metrics and like data analysis and how do we improve followers? How do we I mean, some of them it almost blends in a weird way. It's like some of them do PR, some of them don't. Some of them plan tours. Some bands do it themselves, but I think mostly like artist management now, like I said, they look at numbers like Spotify, YouTube views, Facebook followers, likes, things like that, and just try to improve on that.
That is,
And
I don't know about you, but that's my least favorite part of this whole gig is the algorithms and the numbers.
oh God, I know. And it's like you got to constantly figure out like how are they changing? How do you navigate through it? And again, if you didn't have the challenge, how could you get better? So
it's true. That's a good way of thinking about it.
yeah, and I mean, you have to constantly be learning. So
All right. So I have one kind of somewhat personal, hopefully funny question. You can feel
Okay.
free to tell me to that you don't want to talk about it.
okay.
But for any of us that regularly follow you both on Facebook, I have to ask, what is with this incredibly weird beef between you and DJ Wicked Goth? You're on the show first, so you get to fire the first salvo. I haven't interviewed him yet. Maybe he'll ask for an interview after this question, but
Yeah, you know what? I mean, first of all, I can't believe that people actually think that that's real, and we've had people say,
people
"No, I'm
think
serious."
it's real?
People have actually thought that, but honestly, it's two grown men that actually probably aren't that far from each other in age. It's two grown guys with families that are just kind of giving each other a little bit of a hard time and getting a good laugh out of it. But at the end of the day, I mean, Wicked Goth is a fantastic guy. He's an incredibly talented DJ, and he probably best thing is he's a great family man. And I don't say that because he's probably going to listen or watch or be interviewed, but no, he really is. So,
yeah, I imagine that's the part you want me to cut from the recording, right?
No. No, but yeah, no, we get along great, actually.
Well, William, thank you very much. I guess a couple last questions I have as we start to round up the interview here is,
Sure.
first of all, if I am a band, all right, if I want you to hear Midnight Daggers with a V's demo material, how do I get it to you? What's the best way to engage with Moon Coil Media?
Probably the best way is through DM through my personal Facebook.
Okay.
Because that's constantly open because I work quite a bit.
Okay.
Other than that, go through the website, which is mooncoilmedia.com, and the
Okay.
contact form. I think that's the main two things or whatever.
Okay. And so what if I am a DJ and I want to be on your list of people that you send stuff to? What do I do?
Same way. The only thing that is different is if you're a DJ, obviously you have to give me permission to put the email on my DJ list, and then
Okay.
I'll put all the DJ information on my spreadsheet. But if you're contacting me, that already kind of tells me that you're okay with it. But yeah, the same way, contact form or the DMs, or sending a message through the business Facebook page.
All right. So yeah, artists looking for PR, you know what to do. DJs looking for great music, and I'm serious. Like, I think that I have been sent one thing from William Zimmerman that I have not played, and that's because it just did not fit my show whatsoever.
And that happens.
But
sometimes.
but yeah, but that's a very low percentage considering like that percentage is much higher for other people. So this man has very good taste, is what I'm saying, and supports very talented artists. So make sure that if you are a DJ, you reach out to him for promotions, because your programs will improve. Trust me.
I appreciate it. So.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show tonight and talk with us.
Yeah, no problem. I had fun. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. So, was there anything else you wanted to say to the world before I cut you off into limbo, never to be seen again?
No, I don't think so. Just, I mean, feel free to contact through Facebook. Totally fine if you contact my personal page or the business page or whatever. And, you know, I'm not always all business. If somebody just wants advice or just wants to, you know, talk about music or whatever, totally fine.
What if I tell people to spam your account with hashtag MIDNYGHT?
So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a press release with all your information and then send it out to the media outlets and let all the DJs know, do not play this guy.
Oh, luckily I'm not a guy. So thank you very much.
Well, don't play the, you know, whatever.
Thank you.
Don't play the song.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks, audience, and you're getting some thank yous in chat. They really enjoyed this information, so thank you all very much. If you're watching live, make sure that you stick around for the after party coming up in just a few minutes. Beatmatched mix show. I'm going to start off with an artist on Moon Coil Media, actually. I think I'll start off with some Christian Death, and we'll just develop a mix from there and see what happens with live art on stream. If you are watching on YouTube, well, now you can go to mooncoilmedia.com and figure out, you know, how best William Zimmerman can serve you.
I'll do my best.
Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
All right, cool. Thank you.